In this video demonstration, we will be talking about the aggregate gradation test, which is one of the most earliest and preliminary test which you have to perform on the material which is going to be used in road. Two types of material is placed in your road pavement. Aggregate and bitumen is combined together to be placed in 4 different layers to form the road surface. The lowermost layer is the subgrade, above which is the subbase, following the base course and surface course, or the wearing course. The other name for surface course is also wearing course. We place aggregate and bitumen in either all of these or selective layers, because bitumen will be placed in the surface course, that is a given, but at times the base course and the sub base course are either of a composite of aggregate and soil, or they are a composite of or they are made of asphalt. So it depends on the design of the road. We will be focusing more on the wearing course of the road, that is the topmost layer. We will touch upon the base course and the sub base course as well, as if you have evaluated the material or performed the design for one layer, the same procedure is used for the other layers, that is for the base course and sub base course, but the limiting criteria are different. So for sieve analysis, we have to for the purpose of the gradation test, we have to arrange particular sieves in particular order. As you can see on the right side of the slide, there are different sieve denominations mentioned, and they are arranged in the decreasing order according to size. All the size which is mentioned in inches is of coarse aggregate sieves, and the sizes mentioned in numbers like number 4 or number 16 are fine aggregate sieves. Now what this means is that if we say that there is a 4-inch sieve, then each opening there is a half-inch sieve. So each opening on the sieve is to be of half inch. And if we say when we come to the fine aggregate sieves and we say that there is a sieve called number 8, that means on each linear opening, that is in any 1-inch direction on the sieve, there are 8 openings. So in this way you can ascertain the approximate size of the opening on each sieve. Now there are certain limitations against which we have to perform the gradation. When you must have performed the same experiment in the geotechnical lab, but the purpose of gradation or sieve analysis there is to see which sizes of material are present in our sample. But for the purpose of transportation engineering, or when the aggregate is to be used in a road pavement or say an embankment, then you have to gather material according to certain specific sizes. For instance, if I say that there has to be at least 25% material on sieve number 4, then that means that a certain mass needs to be gathered together to be put in the pavement or any structure that you are going to construct. So while gathering the material to be placed into the pavement, there are certain limiting values according to the layer in which you are going to place the aggregate. As you can see on the top side are the limits for subbase material, and on the bottom we see the limits for base course material. On each table, you can see on the left hand side there are different size denominations mentioned, both of coarse sieve as well as fine sieves. And on the right side of the tables, there are 2 types of values mentioned under A and B. These are NHA classifications which have been provided by the National Highway Authority, and your aggregate or your material of that particular size should not exceed the limiting values. For instance, if we say that the pavement is using specification A of subbase material. So in specification, if you see on the top side of the on the top table of the present slide, You will see that for specification A, we can look at sieve number 4, and at number 4 there are the limiting values are 35 and 70. That is, the cumulative person passing should not be less than 35% and more than 70%. More will be explained about the calculations after we have looked at this demonstration along with the experimental demonstration. So once you have acquired the material, or even before acquiring the material, the graph is developed on a semi-log scale graph, because if you plot your points or your graph on a normal scale graph, then what will happen is that the coarse sieve points will be spread out a lot, and the fine sieve points will be very congested amongst each other. So what this graph scale does is that it contracts some of the coarse sieve points and it expands some of the fine sieve points. And using the limiting values as shown in the table earlier, using a similar table and the limiting values, we can develop the gradation envelope, and I will show it to you in the demonstration after this. Using the material acquired on each sieve, we will be able to develop the gradation curve, and for gradation curve we will see the after the gradation curve we will see the type of curve that your material has. A well graded curve, as shown by the curve A on the slide, is a curve in which all sizes material are present in your sample. Then there is the uniformly graded sample, which is shown by a curve B. Let me try and get a pointer here. So in gradation curve B, you can see that only one size is available, which shows that this is a uniformly graded sample. In gap graded sample, there is some size is missing from the in between. As you can see, sieve number 16 to 30 size is not present, and that is why it is a mostly straight line as shown on this curve. And finally, for open graded sample, we can see that coarse size sieves are not available, but fine sieves material is available. A nominal maximum size, this is just a concept which we use while acquiring the material for gradation while sampling. That is, any sieve which has less than 100% but more than 90% material is your nominal maximum size sieve. This is used for another type of curve called the Fuller curve, which will not be going into over here. And so this is just a summary of what you actually have to do in the class or during performing the experiment, is that you take oven dried sample and then you perform sieve analysis or gradation test on it, after which the curve is plotted on the semi-log graph. Finally, the washing sieve is another method in which is done only when you have to analyze the particle size or the material type of material passing 200 number sieve, which is essentially what we call fines. So when only fines material is to be analyzed, then we do washing sieve. We take all the material and we put it under a sink and we pass water through it. All the material which is passed through sieve number 200 drains out with the water, but that which retains on 200 is then evaluated and subtracted and from the total mass. That way we know what percentage of material has passed number 200 and what percentage of material is retained on 200 sieve.